how about we talk about my terrible, awful, no good, very bad morning at the airport? So I had a recent trip down yonder California way, and I was on my way back. As part of this trip, I had to bring with me some electronic devices, just, for reference, right? And so I ended up I think you know this, Luke, but I almost never travel with a check bag. I don't like the hassle of having a larger bag. B, I don't like my stuff being away from me, just because it's super stressful having to worry about when I get to the other side, is my luggage actually going to be there? So if there's anything I can do to avoid it, I will not take anything more than a personal item, backpack, and then a carry-on bag. In fact, actually, even my recent trip to Asia, where I was gone for 11 days in Japan and China, I took only a little roller carry-on bag. Arguably, by the end of it, I could have smelled better than I did, but it's better than not having your luggage in my book. And I've traveled enough over the years, and I've seen kind of everything that can go wrong, and I've seen how it just kind of always seems to go wrong, and I hate it. Anyway, the point is, on this recent trip down California way, I had to carry a checked bag because of all the electronic devices that I needed to bring with me for reference. I had a couple desktop computers. I had a couple of mobile devices. Anyway, going down, totally not a problem. But I had a 7 and something a.m. flight, 7:30 or something like that, or 7:20 a.m. flight coming back. So I had to be at the airport a little bit before 6 in the morning. And I go to check in, and I put my bag up on the weighing thing, and he's like, "Oh, you're 2 pounds over." I'm like, "Oh, shoot. Okay, well, it's 2 pounds. Does it really matter?" And he's like, "Yeah, is there anything that you can take out and put into your backpack?" I'm like, oh, "All right." Ugh. So I pull, because it's so... I'm sure the airlines have reasons for doing things the way that they do them, but I think Lufthansa is the only airline that I have ever seen where they even weigh your personal item.
And they're so intense about it, dude.
Dude,
crazy.
Have we ever told the story of what we had to do that one time?
I don't think so. Every time I've ever flown with them afterwards, I've had a minor amount of trauma where I'm holding my bags up, trying to just physically determine if they're overweight, and I'll put a crazy amount of stuff in my pockets. I'll just jam my pockets full of things. It's no, I'm not going to be overweight, especially if I'm by myself and I can't do what we did.
So there was 4 of us, and a couple of us were way overweight, and a couple of us were way underweight. And we basically were like, okay, well, does this matter? Because on average, we're underweight. And they were like, yes, it matters. So at the bag check, we opened up all our luggages and then balanced around all the crap in them, put them all back together, and then put them on the weigh station. We're like, okay, did this make a difference to the plane being able to take off or not? Anyway, that's a whole separate story. So anyway, I'm like, okay, well, does the extra two pounds matter? He's like, yes, it does. I'm like, okay, fine. As I'm getting ready to open it up and rebalance, put some stuff into my backpack, he goes, do you have any electronics items, any fuels, any sharp items, whatever, the standard questions that they ask you. I'm like, oh, well, I do have some electronics. And he goes, oh, well, you can't have any of those in there. And I go, what do you mean? It's they don't have batteries. And he goes, well, you can't have any electronics in your check bag. And I go, no, I'm quite certain that it's fine to have electronics in my bag as long as they don't have batteries. I have a desktop computer. I am so glad that I had the presence of mind to say I have a desktop computer. Because if I had told them what my real concern was, if I had said, my entire check bag is packed to the gills with electronics, I don't know if I would have gotten on my flight, because I went back and forth with this guy. I kid you not, over half a dozen, probably over 10 times, like just having probably the most inane conversation that I have ever had with a retail worker of any kind. I haven't even gotten it out of the bag yet. But I basically, by this point, I'm going, hey, no, I really don't think that's right. And he goes, I'm telling you, sir, you can't have any computers, you can't have any electronics in your bag. So I happen to be at a bag check. So I pick up the piece of paper that's sitting in a plastic stand and I go, can you show me on here where it says I can't have any electronics? And he goes, I'm telling you. And I'm like, right, I hear you telling me, but what I really need you to do is show me on here where it says I can't have electronics. And he points at it like vaguely. He goes, right there. And I'm like, hold on. That says electronics with lithium batteries. It's a desktop computer. It doesn't have any battery. And he like cuts me off. He interrupts me. He goes, I told you there's no electronics. I go, okay, look. Like by this point, I'm just like, okay, 2 deep breaths. I would like to speak to a supervisor. He goes, I am the supervisor. And I go,
no.
And I'm like, okay, then we really need to resolve this.
Someone higher than.
Because this does not say no electronics. It says no electronics with batteries. And he goes, sir, I'm done with you. And he like basically throws my passport down onto the counter. And I'm sitting here going like, this is actually pretty fucked up right now. How you can be a supervisor at Air Canada handling bag check and not fucking know that if someone is trying to move an electronic device, like how would anybody have gotten to like LTX whale lands in the past if there's no way to check a computer in a luggage?
I mean, we've flown with computers a ton of times. We've flown with cameras and stuff too. We just take the batteries out. Like it's not.
Well, yeah. How would a documentary film crew ever do anything if you couldn't? If you couldn't check electronics in a bag, you think they carry them all? So this guy literally. So by this point, I'm like, well, look, no, I have to fly. Like we're not done here. Do you want me to take it out and show you? He goes, well, I don't see how that's going to help, but fine. So I pull it out. I have this desktop computer. I'm like, this is it. And he's like, yeah, you can't fly with that. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me right now. Yes, I can. He's like, I'm not going to argue with you anymore. And I'm just like, so what do you want me to do? Like carry it? He's like, fine. I'm like, okay. And like realistically, like I could have phoned Air Canada support and been like, can you explain to this fucking asshole that like I'm allowed to take a computer in my bag? Like, but I don't know if I would have made my flight. I don't know how long that would have taken. So instead, thankfully, again, I had the presence of mind to not disclose that my entire bag was full of electronics. So I opened it up like so he couldn't see into my bag, took out the one computer, closed it, and was like, well, now I'm underweight. And I had to carry this stupid fucking computer with me. I'm sitting there at the gate at like a little cafe table with my stupid desktop computer on the table while I'm eating my French toast at SFO. And then I go and I get on the plane, and it's a good thing I had the commuter bag, right? Because if I'd had the OG backpack, I was on the tiniest like tin can plane coming back here that had no room in the overhead for anything. Like it was completely full. So if I had had the OG backpack, I wouldn't have even been able to fit the computer under the chair in front of me. But I was able to put the computer down there, put my backpack onto it. And I'm just like, come on, man. It was amazing seeing all this. Everyone in the chat during the intro of the video was like, when Linus says someone's objectively wrong about something, it means subjective. No, that is not. That is not true. Maybe it has happened on occasion, but no, I was objectively right. There is nothing wrong with flying with electronics in your check bag. It's batteries that are the concern. And this computer was so old, it wouldn't have even had a live CMOS battery, let alone any kind of like lithium pouch cells or anything like that. Unbelievable. And Padpodaka, or whatever your name is in Float Plane chat says, did you call Air Canada after? They can track the guy down and give him some education. Yes, I did. I sent them an email or like I filled out their form. I gave the guy's name and I was just like, look, this is not, I managed to get on my flight. This is not about like retribution or whatever, but he does need to know. Because if he's supposed to be the supervisor that is handling people's checked bags, then he needs to learn either the regulations or he needs to learn to read. I didn't say it that way. But I basically just said he needs to familiarize himself with the regulations for what is allowed to go in a checked bag, because this could have been very disastrous for my return home. Man, every one of my recent trips has had something. Dude, did we talk on WAN Show about Triple C yet?
Triple C?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So my recent trip to China, I got a really nice battery bank confiscated. I was really frustrated. It was a really expensive one, like one of those big high cap, I think Ugreen makes it, and it was like 45 or 60 watts power delivery, so I could run basically anything I wanted off of it indefinitely, like ROG Ally or like my laptop or whatever.
Why was it confiscated?
So it was confiscated because in China, they have a new... No, it was not because it was more than 100 watt hours, scrappy DP. It was airline safe, so it was like 99.98 watt hours or whatever. But they have a new regulation in China called Triple C, and they no longer accept any kinds of international certifications for the safety of lithium battery devices. But the really, like... I don't mind rules and regulations, right? Thoughtfully applied rules and regulations help keep society functioning. They help keep people safe. They can do all kinds of good things. They can also do bad things. But they can also just be arbitrary and kind of stupid. And in this case, I don't know, man. It feels a little arbitrary. So rather than accepting, what are some of the other ones? UL has like a certification for battery banks, I think, right? CSA, actually, I don't know if CSA is the Canadian one. CSA, I don't know if they do battery banks, but a lot of the time in Canada, I think there are categories of products that you don't have to have CSA as long as they have like an accepted international one. What are some of the other ones? No one in chat is throwing any at me here, but whatever. The point is that, various countries have various certifications for these devices. And in general, as long as it is certified by some sort of reputable body, it's fine. Now, in fairness to the Chinese authorities, there have been some incidents, especially recently, where there have been some lithium batteries that have exploded. And Anchor had that recent big controversy where they had to recall like how many millions upon millions of dollars worth of battery banks because they had some issues with the cells. Yeah. But my problem with all of this is that the way that Triple C works is that it's a stamp on the outside of the device. Because I was looking all this up because I got my stupid battery bank confiscated, so I was trying to figure out what the heck was going on. And all they checked when I got through security was if it has a Triple C stamp on it. But as it turns out, the only way that you can verify if the Triple C is actually valid is you have to enter a serial number into a site to check. But nobody was doing that anyway. And here's where it gets even more arbitrary. You are allowed to, because I flew into China with my battery bank, obviously, right? So you're allowed to fly into China without a Triple C battery bank. You are allowed to fly out of China without Triple C on your battery bank. The only reason I ran into trouble was because I was taking a domestic flight. So I can fly on a Chinese airline into China, over the water, on a long flight, and that's totally safe without Triple C. I can fly on a Chinese airline somewhere else, and that's totally fine. But if I do a little 1-hour hop within China, well, you have to have Triple C. You don't have Triple C, you don't got shit, boy. So I was a little frustrated.
That guy got a free battery bank, dude.
Little frustrated, and I'm not the only one. I mean, Chinese citizens don't always express their frustration with the Chinese government super vocally because, might affect their social credit score or whatever else. But there has been a fair bit of frustration over CCC because I think manufacturers only really started producing CCC certified battery banks like last year, 2024. So functionally what it did was it made every battery bank before like a year ago e-waste if you hope to travel with it. Because, and this is the really, really frustrating part for me, it apparently applies to trains as well. Like on an airliner, I get it. A fire is actually a disaster, in a pressurized tin can, ripping across the face of the earth at, tens of thousands of feet above the surface, right? Like that, that makes a ton of sense to me. On a train, like I have a battery bank in my backpack, like really? I don't know, man. Like, yeah, obviously a lithium fire anywhere is bad. But at that point, why not ban them from cars? Why not ban them from buses? Why not ban them in the library at school? Like why are we drawing such an arbitrary line?
Yeah, it's lithium batteries are interesting. They're terrifying, but also everywhere and not generally a problem. So it's strange.
Yeah.
Battery fires on planes are brutal.
Oh yeah.
So like I get it. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of get it. I understand a country wanting to have more control over that, but it seems inconsistently applied.